rest, you know, he doesn't look like a public works director. I mean, look at him, man. He looks like he should be upstairs on the fourth floor.
Thank you.
Look nice, man. They're very sharp, man. I like that.
Thank you. Good evening.
Yeah. All right.
I'm going to keep it brief. The only project I have to provide you guys with an update is the Pioneer Boulevard project, which is Northeast 137th Street. Currently, we're 85% completed. The painting of the fountain, we have to complete the painting of the fountain and energizing the fountain. So pretty much that's it. Once it's wrapping up, hopefully we'll have a nice ribbon cutting. Okay?
Oh.
That's it. That's it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I was told to keep it brief.
Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda with that item C?
So moved.
Has been moved, has been seconded. Anyone wishes to record a no? Hear none. Pass. Tab D, Mr. City Clerk.
Tab D is a quasi-judicial matter in nature or by nature. If any individual, any members of the public, with the exception of attorneys, would like to be heard on Tab D, may you please stand and raise your right hand, with the exception of representation or city staff. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God, regarding Tab D?
I do.
Okay. Tab D. A resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, Florida, authorizing approval of the conditional use permit in substantially the attached form, transferring 27 bonus units from outside the neighborhood redevelopment overlay NRO district secondary pool of 1,000 floating residential units for the property known as Parkview Villas, generally located on the north side of Northeast 135th Street at approximately 5,289 feet east of Biscayne Boulevard, in accordance with Article 4, Section 4-204 of the City of North Miami Code of Ordinances, Land Development Regulations, providing for an effective date and for all other purposes.
Thank you, Mr. City Clerk. I think this is city staff is recommended approval. Can I hear from the public? Public hearing is open on Top D. Anyone wishes to be heard on Top D, please come forward. Okay, no one. Okay, Top D has been closed for public hearing. Mr. Councilman Blinn.
Well, this is Councilman, this District 1, I think District 1 councilperson should speak about it first, so we know what his ideas are.
Okay.
Scott Galvin.
Okay. Councilman Galvin.
Thank you, Mr. Blinn. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. There were a lot of issues that, and I might ask the petitioner to come to the microphone. I guess first identify himself, maybe make a brief presentation as to what you're planning, and then I have questions about the neighbors and their concerns that they have.
Good evening. Good evening, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, council members. My name is Manny Solofsky. I am here as part of the development team representing the applicant tonight. As a matter of quick history, we met with staff a number of months ago. They were fantastically helpful in responding to questions, concerns, evaluating opportunities that we have relative to the property that we own. That being said, we understood that we had to go through a process where we first would go to your planning council and ask for the benefit of bonus units on the property, and then with their recommendation come to you. Prior to going to the planning council, nonetheless, we met with the community. We actually had a neighborhood meeting that some of you attended with the Arch Creek East Neighborhood Association. At that meeting, there were a number of issues that were raised. Some of the issues included parking. Some of the issues included amenities. Some of the issues included whether there should be a laundry room per floor, or whether there should be individual washer and dryers in each unit. Other issues that were discussed that evening were the issues of parking, in terms of how many parking spaces we should be providing, regardless of what your code would require. There was also concern relative to landscape buffers there was concern that evening relative to the sizes of the units. We listened carefully to the community. We subsequently anticipated meeting with them one more time prior to coming to your planning commission meeting. Unfortunately, that was unable to occur, not because we weren't ready, but because there were some other issues that, in effect, made it impossible for the community to meet with us. We came to the Planning Commission on March 5th. That evening, there were some issues that were further discussed. Obviously, we have a recommendation from them to move forward, and that's why we're here tonight from the Planning Commission. But still, there were issues that were raised that evening, and those issues have been addressed in totality. All of the issues that were raised that evening, in addition to the issues that were originally raised by the community, have been addressed. We were planning to meet with the community one more time before tonight's meeting. Unfortunately, the particular day that we were scheduled to meet, we attended the meeting, and the community was unable to join us. They had a break in their water line. It was a rough day for them. We understood. Nonetheless, we made copies available of our updated revisions. They were comfortable with those updates. There was correspondence that needed to be updated also relative to the size of the units and the fact that this is not a rental community, that specifically these 48 units are being developed specifically as condominium units. We've agreed to present at the appropriate time the condominium declaration to the City of North Miami. We've agreed to provide 100 parking spaces, which is way in excess of what your code requires, and in excess of 2 parking spaces per unit. We agreed and have shown updated plans with washer and dryers inside each unit. We agreed to increase units, which we have. We've gone from 750 to 950 square feet in our units, originally to 1,019 is the smallest unit and 1,289 is the largest unit. We still maintain all of the criteria related to a sustainable project, and that in effect is the essence of the bonus units that we are requesting. And we still have to go through the site plan approval process tonight. What we're asking for really is your approval on the bonus units so that we can then really begin the site plan approval process through the process that is very clearly defined. I have with me large boards. I apologize. I thought there would be an easel here this evening. There was one at a previous meeting, so we didn't worry about bringing easels. But I'm happy to show you, at least from this distance, what it is that we intend to do. And again, to the extent that you may have any questions relative to what I've suggested or what I've said, I'm happy to answer. I think it's positive that we don't have opposition from the community, being that it's a public hearing and they obviously had an opportunity to speak, and they're not here to speak against. But I think candidly that if they were disappointed with all of the commitments that we've made, they would have been here. We did try on many occasions, nonetheless, to continue to meet with the community, and ultimately there's email exchanges back and forth that they were satisfied, and they were satisfied with the updated correspondence that we provided, and as a result of that, a meeting prior to tonight was not necessary. I'm going to first show you the site plan that gives you a sense of the project. And by the way, I did forget to tell you that the project is located on 135th. It is actually just a hair under a mile from Biscayne, obviously east of Biscayne on the north side. So we don't front water, but we do, in effect, face to the north the beautiful preserve area, which is really very important in terms of views, natural light, and for that matter, no direct heat from the sun on the north side. To the east of us, there is a community of townhomes that are multi-story, and I would suggest they could be as tall as 3 levels high. And to the west of us is a 5-story apartment building. We have purposely designed our solution so that there is a minimum of 100 feet between our building line and the building line either to the east or to the west. We've purposely designed our solution so that there are no windows either on the east or the west from any one of our residential units to either the building to the west or the east, so that we can protect our neighbors' privacy and we can protect the privacy of the new property owners. There's a lot of glazing on the north side to capture natural light. There's a lot of glazing on the south side to capture natural light. Being a sustainable product means that even though we have a significant amount of parking, we are integrating lifts underneath the building so that we can reduce the amount of pavement and not dilute, if you will, the amount of green space. The glazing is beyond being missile impact, all energy efficient, low E glass. Certainly the building is fully compliant with the most recent code, most recent upgrade of the Florida Building Code. Very high efficiency light fixtures, very high efficiency appliances, very low water consuming plumbing fixtures and plumbing trim, and significant amount of landscaping that is in effect local in nature to keep the irrigation down and the water consumption at a minimum. So I'll first show you the site plan, then I will show the elevation, the main elevation of the building, and then I have a updated floor plan that again integrates all the comments that not only did we hear and agree to at the community meeting, but subsequently at the Planning Commission meeting. And I want to do this so that the public has the benefit of the images, but you can see in effect that towards the north, and the north is the top of the board, the building is closer, if you will, to the preserve that's north of us. There's a separation from the building to the right-of-way on 135th, where the setback at the shortest dimension is 55 feet, and it grows to over 70 feet of setback from the street. On the west side, which is this end over here between our building line and the 5-story building that's west of us, again, there's 100 feet of line. On the west, we are providing a pool amenity, a deck area. On the east, there's 100 feet between our building line and the first townhome immediately east of us. We are not looking to add, if you will, traffic on the right-of-way by virtue of providing all of the 100 parking spaces either surface, outside the building, or for that matter, under the building and in lifts. As a matter of fact, of the 100 spaces, 66 of them are covered. 66 spaces are covered. All of the units are 2-bedroom and 2-bath. All of the units have significant balconies overlooking either north or south. In terms of the elevation, the drawing on the bottom represents the south elevation, and you can see that we've broken the plane of the building with multiple towers, tower features. The building ends on either end with stair towers that in effect also create the privacy that we want to the east, to the west. You can see the 2 side elevations, if you will, one on one end and then the other one over here, where we're protecting the privacy of our buyers and, for that matter, the residents of the building, as well as the privacy of the residents to the east and the west, so that we don't have windows facing their homes and vice versa, their windows facing ours. The windows that you do see there are specifically only in the stair towers, and the stair towers are really for emergency egress because we have 2 sets of working elevators that serve the building from the ground floor all the way up to the 5th floor. The 48 units are, in effect, 12 units to a level. So you have a ground floor level, which is all parking, followed by 4 levels of 12 units on each level. times 4 is a 48, and that's how we reach 5 stories. We are below the 75-foot height limitation for the specific district, and we are actually below the total bonus units that we could have. Even though it appears that 48 is a lot of density, there would still be some additional units available to us that we opted not to look for. So with that, I will be happy to answer your questions, and obviously be even happier to have your support this evening.
Councilman Gavin?
Sure. Thank you for taking so much time to make a presentation tonight and to meet with the residents repeatedly. Thank you for the adjustments that you've made to the project from when it was originally proposed. I know from speaking to the leadership of the Homeowners Association, they're very pleased that you've come so far. So I look forward to voting for this tonight. And there are some provisions that the Planning Commission suggested. Are you accepting of those 4 or 5 provisions that are made here tonight about the remaining condos, about them being 2-bedroom, 2-bath, and other provisions?
If you would, Mr. Councilman, if you could just read them out loud. I don't have them in front of me, but I want to make sure that that we, in effect, are agreeing to the same thing.
Sure. Exhibit A of the Planning Commission recommendation. Exhibit A had 5 provisions that they asked that you accept when they approved you a couple of weeks ago. 1, that the development shall include 2 bedrooms, 2-bath condo units. The development shall not be built for rental occupancy. Should the applicant choose to revamp and switch back to rental units, they shall bring the item back before the Planning Commission for review. 2, the applicant shall include a washer and dryer inside every unit. 3, provide lush landscaping and a pool amenity as part of the development. 4, applicant commits to build 48 condominium units between 1,019 square feet to 1,284 square feet in size. And 5, furnish a copy of the Declaration of Condominium documents to the Department of Community Planning and Development.
Mr. Councilman, we agree to all of the conditions. There is one more condition that I want to make aware of, and that was one of the recommendations that we heard at the Planning Commission, where one of the members, who is a colleague architect, suggested that in one of the models we have the ability, if you will, to flip the design that we were proposing so that, in effect, one of the bedrooms could become a greater master suite, if you will. So there's a flexibility that in one of the 4 different models that we're offering, that should the homeowner want, as opposed to, let's say, the 2-bedroom, 2-bath, they could have the super master bedroom suite / 2 bathrooms / everything else included. If you, I just don't see that here. I don't think that it changes the first condition that every unit has to be 2 bedrooms and 2 baths. It just gives a flexibility that if somebody wants to buy a 2-bedroom, 2-bath and convert that 2nd bedroom into a larger master suite, that flexibility is there. If you decide that that's not important this evening, we'll go without, but we did offer the Planning Commission that flexibility that we would change our design to allow for that.
I'm only comfortable with the 5 that I just read now.
No problem.
Only because that discussion is not reflected in any of the minutes, and I know from speaking to the homeowner group leadership, the reason they're not all here in force tonight is because it was going to be 2 condos, and they're
no
cool
problem
with that. So
no problem, sir. And what that means is that we would sell them all as 2s, and if that particular homeowner later would want to, remodel that unit, they would have that flexibility, or no, they would never have that flexibility, just because we have to represent it in condo documents.
Sure. I don't know what the Planning Commission Building Department rules would be to doing that, but if we need to continue this 2 weeks for you to search that out, I'll be glad to allow that possibility. But I know everybody was expecting 2 tonight. I don't want to walk out saying, well, I voted for 2 but it could be a 1-2.
We're happy for all of them to be 2, sir. I just wanted to share with you that that conversation occurred. We committed to that flexibility, but if it would delay this or cause any concern, we'd rather just agree to these terms and we move forward.
Okay. I'd move approval, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Councilman Glenn?
I'm very happy. I'm very happy with your proposal. Could you give me an idea of what the sales price are going to be on these units?
Councilman, our expectation is that the smaller units are going to sell at $250,000, and there's flexibility going up by virtue of increased square footage, and for that matter, amenities in the larger units.
Yeah, because we discussed this before, and there's a lot of condo units for sale on that street for a considerably lesser sum of money. That's what I'm worried about, your feasibility economically of surviving.
We have done our market study, and candidly, we do understand, and we are clear as to the existing inventory of
Yeah, it has declined. That's the good news.
the existing inventory is there, and the prices are
Increasing.
increasing. The prices yet are lower than what we anticipate to begin, but the reality is it's a very different type of model. You're looking at a product that in some cases has an average life of 25 years and maybe older, vis-a-vis a product that is cutting edge. We also believe that this particular buyer, who's motivated and interested in, I'm going to use the word, lifestyle of a sustainable living environment, is happy to pay that amount of money for this size unit, specifically in the city of North Miami. We have shared with you that the units that used to be available in downtown Miami that were sustainable don't exist any longer. The units that used to be available in Miami Beach don't exist any longer. Units that were available further north in Aventura don't exist any longer. There really is a tremendous demand for this particular product in a wonderful community as is North Miami, 135th, specifically Arch Creek. We specifically looked to come to North Miami and specifically looked at Arch Creek and 135th by virtue of how special that street is.
It's a beautiful street.
Mm-hmm.
You think you'll be on the market at the end of 2014?
Our expectation, anticipating that we have the support of the community at every level, whether it's the elected officials, whether it's our neighbors, whether, if you will, is the staff and administration. We'd like to believe that we can start construction literally by the end of the year, the beginning of the first quarter next year, by the time we get all the entitlements, or for that matter, all our permits. And we'd like to think that in the end of 2014, the beginning of 2015, we will have new homeowners living in this community.
Yeah, that's what I anticipated.
Yes, sir.
All right, by then the market will be much stronger, too.
Awesome.
I wish you good luck.
Thank you, sir.
Councilman Marsalis?
Sir, can you be more elaborate on the 27 bonus unit?
Yes, sir. Your code meeting certain specific criteria in this particular zoning district, where we have 1.2 acres, basically says you can ask for bonuses up to 25 units per acre. So theoretically, we could ask for 30 units in bonus. 1.2 times 25 would be 30. And the basis based on the size of the parcel is actually 22 units. So theoretically, we could have 52. Where we've stopped at 48 for all the right reasons, but we have to meet a number of criteria. The project has to, in effect, be sustainable. The project has to promote alternative transportation methods. The project has to, in effect, promote pedestrian activity. The project needs to, in effect, limit pavement areas, and we have met all that criteria with the solution that we propose.
Okay. And I think I have another question. It's probably for Maxine. And Maxine, that options if the new owner that is going to buy that property want to turn the master bedroom, the other bedroom, to a big master bedroom. That's an option, and that's something that we need to put that in a language. If, for For example, if I'm going to buy the two-bedroom apartment and I want to turn one of them, the other one to a big master, I'm going to that.
Yeah, I know already.
There will be a penalty for that owner for turning this one if we do not have that language on that right now, or that something is just I want to turn it to a master bedroom, I turn it, and I'm not going to pay any consequences, any penalty for that.
No, Councilman, the new property owner would be restricted from doing that. In addition to the 6 conditions that the applicant has agreed to, the applicant has also agreed to approving and having a restrictive covenant recorded against the property. So that will essentially put all new owners on notice that only 2 bedrooms are allowed, 2-bedroom condominiums. So it wasn't discussed, but a restrictive covenant will be recorded against the property for future owners. Did that answer your question?
Yes, but my question is that if by any chance,
so no future condo owner will be able to convert the 2-bedroom to a 1-bedroom
unless we change that language. That's
correct. Unless a restrictive covenant is no longer recorded against the property, or the city agrees to remove that provision from the restrictive covenant.
Councilman Galvin, is that something you really want to be in there?
Yeah, the homeowners, and I'm deferring to the homeowners who are on the block. They've met with the developer and were comfortable with everything. They weren't comfortable originally. There was a meeting at I think you were there, at the Margolis Center, where they were really angry. That anger was dissipated when they made several changes with raising the platform so parking would be underneath rather than spread out all around the building, with making sure there was going to be a pool there, with putting the washer dryer back into the individual units, because originally it was just going to be one washer dryer, or at one point there was going to be one washer dryer for each floor, and they didn't like that. So I've spoken with the members of the homeowner leadership as recently as, well, during this meeting, as they're text messaging me, and they're cool with they're cool with what's being presented tonight, as long as those original 5 provisions were adhered to. And additionally, I did get I don't know how you handle text messages. Somebody needs to make a legal decision on how you handle this. But a couple of them did text message me and say they're even the one large master bedroom, they were even okay with that, and just didn't communicate that to me until they were watching on Channel 77 or whatever it is these days, and said that now. So if you're amenable to that as well, then they're good with it.
Okay.
So just to make sure that we all are agreeing, at the pleasure of the home buyer, should they want to eliminate what we're proposing tonight in terms of the 2nd bedroom and expand it into a larger bedroom, or for that matter even expand it into living area, we're not reducing the unit, but they would have that benefit.
Right. The text message verbatim from the president of the Homeowners Association: there is no opposition to the supermaster bedroom. So I take that to mean.
Are we making an amendment?
So I think we need to put that into the language. If they need to have that option, they can have it.
My only concern was that very clearly, and the councilman was correct in saying 2-bedroom, 2-bath, and because there is I'm going to call it the supermodel option out there that would eliminate one of the bedrooms, I wanted to give that benefit to buyers, and for that matter, I left with the same impression that supermodel was acceptable. So as long as it's acceptable to you, we would like to offer it. Maybe nobody's going to be interested, but at least we can offer it, and I think we're very consistent with what the discussion at the Planning Commission was. And I'm just going to call it the supermodel because that's theoretically what it becomes. You either increase a bedroom or you increase a living area, but the bottom line, it doesn't reduce the size of the unit. Quite the opposite. It just is.
It's the best of both.
Yes. And you may know my colleague here, but he happens to sit on your Planning Commission, and he was the person that evening that suggested I'm going to call it the supermodel, which gives options in terms of that one particular model. Thank you.
I'm okay with it. The only
Good.
thing that I just want that buyers will have that option to
Sure.
change it to a supermarket.
Sure.
And that's it. And according to what Maxine just said, right now, if we do not change it and put it into the language, that person won't be able to do it.
Yeah, I would rather see it in the language like you're suggesting, and Councilman Galvin is
It's okay with
amicable to that, then we very much are amicable to that too.
it? Okay.
Vice Mayor,
Sure.
you done?
Yes, I'm done with it. So.
Vice Mayor?
Mr. I don't really have a question, but I just want to know what is the process, Madam City Attorney? Do we vote on the amendment, or we just vote on it as is? Then Maxine and yourself will take care of it later on.
Correct. It would just be in terms of your sixth condition that you allow the developer to offer that.
Correct. Okay.
Okay, the motion was made by Councilman Gavin. I need a second.
Second it.
Anyone wishes to record a no? Hearing none. Item passed. Thank you so much.
Thank you all. Thank you very, very much. Looking forward to joining you.
Good luck.
No
Welcome to
problem.
the neighborhood.
Thank you.
Okay, tab E was continued. Tab F.
A resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, Florida, calling for the cancellation and continuance of city council meetings in observance of certain religious holidays, providing for an effective date and all other purposes.
Public hearing is open on tab F. Anyone wishes to be heard on tab F, please come forward.
Annie Montgomery, 2082 Laurel Lane. Does this pertain to Mocha events? Because this past Good Friday, there was a jazz at Mocha, which was, to me, very objectionable. And I want to make sure that it does include Mocha events on a holiday. Thank you.
Anyone else wishes to be heard on tab F? Hearing none. Public hearing is now closed. Councilman Blinn.
No,
Councilman Marcellus.
I got a question.
Oh, you have a question?
Yeah,
Okay, go
well,
ahead.
Christmas Eve is 1 day, Yom Kippur is 2 days, Hanukkah is 8 days, Rosh Hashanah is 2 days, Passover is more than a week. How do you want to handle that, Councilman Galvin?
Well, my intent, and I just brought this up the last meeting, is that when the city council meeting falls on a specific holiday, religious holiday, that we not be confused as to whether or not we were having an actual council meeting. I appreciate what Mrs. Montgomery said, but the difference I see is that attending a Mocha event is a voluntary thing. If at one point we wanted to have an Easter Sunday choir presentation in the Mocha courtyard, and the city sponsored it, for instance, I wouldn't have a problem with that. Others might, I don't know. But as long as it's not a mandatory. The government meetings take on a different tenor because, we have to be here, and if people are celebrating a religious holiday and want to put that ahead of government service, they can't. For instance, if the gentleman who just made the last presentation was celebrating a religious holiday today, he would have to decide between family, religion, and being here. And I just don't want to force anybody to have to choose. If they want to celebrate something voluntarily, and a council meeting happens to fall on that same day, that we automatically just bounce the whole agenda to the next meeting.
Do we honor the whole holiday or just the first of 2 days?
It's not honoring the holidays. The time that the council meeting falls on those holidays, and that council meeting will
But
be
some of the
continued.
holidays are more than 2 days.
For instance, Hanukkah is an 8-day holiday. Bounce it. If it falls anywhere within the time period of said religious holiday, move it to the next agenda. I mean, I bet everybody can appreciate
anywhere in the holiday time frame.
Yeah, just
All
to
right,
make
the
it.
whole-
That's
all
what
right,
the resolution said.
Is that clear?
Yes.
Thank you.
Councilman Marcellus.
Yes, I think I agree with it, just to avoid the confusions that we have the last meeting, and nobody knows, and finally we have to come and defer the meeting, and I think I agree with it. So.
Vice Mayor.
Mr. Mayor, I think I support the resolution, but my concern is, as a religious person, I don't have a problem with it. But as a council member, I'm not sure where the line stop. Where we going with that exactly? Because are
you referring to Kwanzaa?
Well,
is Kwanzaa
to
in
all
there?
fairness, so
Kwanzaa's
I
not
don't
in
know
there,
if are we.
No, I'd be happy to add it if you'd like.
Are we referring to our beliefs up here, or are we referring to the belief of our constituent? So if a constituent come up with, since voodoo is things going on right now, so if they come up with there a certain day or a time of the year that as a religious body we don't do certain things, but the council is come up or we have a meeting.
Yeah.
So where do we stop? Do we says that, okay, since the voodoo priests, that's their day, so we're not going to go council meetings? Or I'm just concerning about not, opening something that we cannot control of.
Sure. No.
My second question is, remember that I know the reason that we bring that up is specifically for the Jewish holidays and the Christian holidays, which is Christmas and stuff, which I'm totally in support. But as a official and elected body, so I'm just afraid that we're getting into something that we might won't be able to stop. Two, my question is for the city attorney. I don't know where does that fall into the Constitution dealing with what the
Freedom of religion.
freedom of religion. Not only that, but the separation of
Church and
church
separation.
and what church and the state.
Separation of church and state.
So I don't know where do we fall into this to to make a specific agenda when we can meet.
Okay, so you're asking me whether this violates the separation of church and state?
Correct. Where do we fall into this?
Well, you definitely want to be careful when you're picking religious days, holidays that you want to observe, in terms of someone saying, well, I would like for you to add Kwanzaa to the list or any other particular religious. You can't favor one religion over another, but you can certainly, for Christmas or whatever the religion is, cancel your meetings for that. You just can't favor or give priority to one religion over another.
Because I'm comfortable, which we have been doing this up here. If we feel like there's a specific religion or an event coming up, we want to cancel council meeting, I think we have the rights to actually vote for it to cancel or not. But I am uncomfortable actually having an ordinance or a resolution specifically saying that we should not have meetings because of this holiday. So remember that I am an extremely religious person. I would want to come here for Christmas or anything else dealing with, or I would support any Jewish holidays that we should not have meetings. But again, we are an elected body. We're serving a very large and diverse community, so we need to be careful where the line will be going and where we do want to go with that. So that's my concern.
Sure. And I know that the city attorney smartly wrote into this a provision that if other holidays are pointed out to us, we can add them to the list, so to speak. Ramadan is not here. Perhaps Ramadan this year falls, on a council night. I don't know. I looked ahead, and Christmas Eve would be our second council meeting of the month. I think a majority of people would probably not want to be here on Christmas Eve and would prefer to instead be with family. And I was just trying to create something that would clarify, because we ran into the problem last month with the holiday falling on with the council meeting falling on a Jewish holiday. Are we meeting? Are we not meeting? Is it put off? Is it not put off? And I was just trying to create something that would clarify. If it falls on a holiday, it is put off.
All right.
I'm not a lawyer.
So are you adding Ramadan?
If you wish to add Ramadan, I mean, we could go on and on and on. If your legal advice is that we should add every holiday right now, then
well, you don't want to do that because there are many, many religious holidays.
Right.
So
Right.
you can't add. I mean, Wicca is a religious. I mean, there are many, many religious holidays, and
Right.
so you have to be careful when you're where you want to draw the line.
So
Is there another way that you would recommend we handle the situation that when it falls on a holiday, we don't have this confusion. I was just trying to
Well,
eliminate confusion.
Yeah, what you can do is look at the calendar and look at what days, because we know for the next year when the council meetings will be, and those particular days that you identify that would be problematic for scheduling purposes, you could choose to cancel them without necessarily.
I'll move to continue this item to allow staff to have the opportunity to look ahead and just suggest things without codifying it. And, I'm not looking to offend anybody's religious sensibilities. I'm looking actually to respect those religious sensibilities. So I'll just move to continue this indefinitely to let staff look ahead.
I second that.
Anyone wishes to argue the no? Hearing none. Then pass. Tab G, Mr. City Clerk.
Discussion and approval to donate $5,000 to the Police Athletic League, PAL, for their annual FACT Festival event on April 27, 2013.
That's every year. Public hearing is open on Tab G.
Mike McDermott, 840 Northeast 127th Street. In reference to the PAL event, it's actually the FACT event coming up, the FACT Festival. This has been a festival that's gone on for several years in the city of North Miami, and it's one that has brought out people from all over the community, every segment of the community, and has been not only something that has brought people together, it's also been educational and actually brought a lot of the young people into various programs that they see there, which we think is benefit to them in their life. So we really support the effort to continue the fine tradition of the FACT Festival and all the things that it does for the city of North Miami. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McDermott. Anyone else wishes to be heard on Tab G?
William Prevotel, 11950 North Bay Shore Drive. And just quickly, I think it's a great investment. I think it really is a good use of a minimal amount of funds to get a maximum impact. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishes to be heard on Tab G? Hearing none, public hearing is now closed on Tab G. Mr. Blend, are you going to make a motion to approve Tab G?
Motion.
Councilman Blend make the motion. I second that. Vice Mayor second that motion.
Discussion.
Discussion. Councilman Blend, any additional discussion from you?
No.
Councilman Marcellus?
No, that's okay.
Okay. Councilman Galvin?
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Mayor, to the city manager this evening. What is the source of the $5,000? Since it's unbudgeted allocation, where will the money be coming from?
We have an budgeted item before that we allocated money, and the city manager have explained that we have some donation that is collected and unforeseen revenue. That's where he usually pull up the money to make up for the unbudgeted item.
So I'm unclear. Is it coming from the general fund? Is it coming from a charitable fund set aside? I don't understand.
I think the manager said it before many times in the past that some of these fundings that is not on the budget and usually taken out from what they call unexpected revenues that usually come in. For example, one of the issues is that we basically budgeted to receive, I think, 95% of what they call taxes from property taxes, and sometimes we get 100%. That's an additional 5% that usually come in. Sometimes we get utility from the state of Florida. So I think that's what the manager said. It's funds that come from unexpected revenues.
We always have an overage.
Right. So there's always an overage. I think that's what the manager said the money would be tapping into.
I appreciate you paraphrasing the manager's words this evening. Is this money coming from Biscayne Landing?
No.
Madam City Manager?
I cannot. I just have to repeat what the city manager said previously. He said, whatever expenses that are unbudgeted, that we vote for it, he will pay for them from unexpected revenue.
So is the money coming from Biscayne Landing?
Biscayne Landing, is it unexpected revenue?
No.
That's a different set of money that we have.
So this money is not coming from Biscayne Landing, am I?
I just have to repeat what the manager said. He paid
it-
for them from unexpected revenue.
I wish that you would be more direct in your answers, and because it's so evasive and unclear, I'll not be able to support this tonight.
Okay, like the manager said, this is coming from unexpected revenues, and I thank you, Ms. Deputy City Manager, for your response. I think it was on point. We truly appreciate what you do, and your answer was not evasive at all.
It was totally evasive, Mr. Manager. Do you want to fight with me, or you want to just play game?
No, I'm fighting with you. She's not fighting with you, okay? The motion was made. Vice Mayor, any issues?
I want to be part of the fight. What was it again?
There's no fight. Go ahead. Vice Mayor?
No, sir.
Okay, the motion was made. It was seconded. Anyone wishes to record a no?
No.
Tab H. Item passed, Mr. City Clerk. Tab.
Discussion and approval to donate $2,500 to a Taste of Haiti event scheduled for May 11, 2013.
Okay, it's 2,500.
2,500.
Right. Okay. Public hearing is open on Tab H.
Good evening, Carol Keys, 12550 Palm Road. It's really hard to discuss an item when you don't know what it is. It says Taste of Haiti event scheduled for May 11th. I'd like to know who is putting on the event and where it is. And I'm not here to speak for or against it, but Mr. Burney from the Chamber of Commerce, our Vice President from the Chamber of Commerce, is not here, but I'd like you to keep in mind that the North Miami Chamber of Commerce is also putting on a Taste of North Miami, which is going to be held in conjunction with the Johnson & Wales College, and it's going to be held in the Johnson & Wales Plaza. So if you're going to be giving funds to these taste events, I'd like you to take into consideration our Chamber of Commerce and be equally as generous. Thank you. And also, again, like Mr. Councilman Galvin says, where will the money be coming from?
Anyone else?
Annie Montgomery, 2082 Laurel Lane. Where is this function going to take place? We haven't been told that. Is it in North Miami? I don't get an answer?
Once you finish with your public comment, you will get an answer.
Oh, thank you very much, Mr. Mayor.
You're welcome.
But I would like to get an answer now, really, but I don't know you. I don't think I will. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
William Prevotel, 11950 North Bayshore Drive. Just a general observation. I'm not too sure why when we announced the tabs, there isn't a little bit of a presentation to clue the audience in as to what the metrics are of the given event or task or expenditure, whatever it is, some sort of inkling of what is going on, as opposed to just saying it's this tab, a brief reading, and expecting really concise and proper input from the audience. It's sort of putting them at a disadvantage, which there's no need to. And matter of fact, there might be things that could be raised in that initial presentation that would then answer a lot of the questions or comments that the audience might have, which would then actually expedite the entire process. So just a general comment for in the future, if we could have clarification to begin with, it would probably benefit everybody and be less contentious. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, public hearing is now closed on tab H. Councilman Bland.
I would consider this, and if you can give $2,500 to the Chamber of Commerce for the Taste of Miami, North Miami, which would be fair, since we've never given them any money. So if we're going to give the Haitians $2,500, why not give it to the Chamber of Commerce also?
I believe they're Haitian Americans.
Haitian Americans, of course. I think that would be fair.
Okay, Councilman Marcellus, I think the tab said the taste of Haiti. It has nothing to do with Haitian, and I don't see where the Haitian is getting $2,500. But if you say the Haitians, the Haitians. Councilman Marcellus?
I don't have any questions, but there is an explanation on behind this tab. Okay, what is all about?
Okay. Councilman Garvin?
Sure. I don't see the letter from Councilman Monesteem's, Commissioner Monesteem's office explaining where this is going to come from or where it's going to be held either. But my biggest issue, though this is probably an outstanding event, the documentation backing up the fact that Little Haiti Optimist Foundation, Inc. is a 501c3 is not here. That's in direct violation of our city rules regarding donations to nonprofits. And so I would like us to just continue it so that they could apply under the appropriate guidelines. And then secondarily, if we're not willing to continue it for the opportunity for them to comply, my issue again becomes the revenue stream that we're biting into to fund it.
Vice Mayor?
I don't have anything, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, this is a request from Miami-Dade County Commissioners. District 2, Commissioner Monesteem is having an event here at Mocha Plaza. And basically the event called Taste of Haiti, which is, similar to some of the other events that we have in the city of North Miami. I think it's a great event to be held here in the city of North Miami. So I make a motion to approve tab H. Anyone wishes to second the motion to approve tab H?
I second it.
Okay.
Question
Was made to second tab H.
Question?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Madam City Attorney, do you feel that this request as it's presented in its one-page explanation fits with the city's guidelines as per donating to nonprofit organizations?
No, it doesn't.
I'm sorry?
No, it does not.
Would you recommend us approving it this evening?
I would recommend that you follow the rules, yes. I would recommend that you follow the rules.
And does this follow the rules this evening?
I would say asked and answered. No, it does not.
Okay, thank you.
Motion was made and it was seconded. Anyone wishes to? Yes.
Well, Dr. Claude, when are we going to have a list of the events that will take place during the Haitian Heritage Month? Are we going to have a list of the different events that will take place soon?
We are finalizing the list of events for Haitian Heritage Month, but for the city of North Miami. When it comes to the event that we have in front of us, the package submitted is complete. And the same thing, Mrs. Attorney, the same check mark package that I gave you for the other event, we have one of it as well.
It's not in my package.
Thank
so
you.
I stand corrected, Councilman. The deputy manager advised that it does have the correct information. I just don't have
But that's not been provided to you nor to us. So does her word overrule the existing voted upon guidelines that we've set in place?
I trust that if she's making that statement, that's the
Perhaps
case.
the city attorney should get the information and know exactly what's happening here before the answer is given to the councilman. Okay. Motion was made. Seconded was seconded. Anyone wishes to record a no?
No.
Okay. Item passed. Tab I.
Wanton
Request
disregard for the
from
rules.
Pastor Jack Hakamani, sorry I butchered the last name, of Impact Miami, Inc., to utilize the Mocha Plaza City's showmobile and sound equipment for the National Day of Prayer, May 2nd, 2013, from 7 to 9 p.m.
Thank you. This is not the first time that the rule has always been violated. There's many
You should
times
know.
that we have.
Let's focus
Oh yeah,
on-
you should know that because you're the one that voted for a lot of it in the past. So,
Name once.
Tab I. Public hearing is open on tab I. Anyone? How are you doing, Pastor Jack?
Thank you. I hope I don't pay for all this. debate here. Well, I'm excited. Thank you for being here. And we've been praying for every single person on this commission faithfully. We're part of an organization, Mission Miami, the Sojourners, and several other Miami pastors, and we've been praying for the city. And as you guys know, the National Day of Prayer is something that's happened since George Washington. And it's been May 2nd has been dedicated, and Congress passed a resolution in 1952 that the first week of May would be recognized as the National Day of Prayer. And so in reality, we're going to pray at the courtyard because we're going to have less than probably 200 people, and you need a special events permit if you're going to have more than 200 people. So we expect about 100 people, and we recognize as citizens that God has placed you guys as stewards, but really the city belongs to the religious, the non-religious, the Jew, the Gentile, the atheist, the theist. The city belongs to us, and we know that we're not necessarily asking permission to meet at the courtyard. We believe that this is something like every president and most municipalities around Miami-Dade and across our nation are setting apart on the National Day of Prayer to issue a proclamation, as our President Obama, Bush, Reagan, all the presidents did, and that's part of our proposals, that you guys would issue a proclamation recognizing the National Day of Prayer. That prayer has played a huge role in the blessing of our nation. As our dollar bill says, God bless America. We surely need his blessing. But what we're really asking is that the city join with what's been happening nationally and historically in America by having a council member out there to issue a proclamation, having you guys out there to pray with us. This is an interdenominational event. Everyone's invited, but it's going to happen regardless. We just wanted to secure the stage and sound. If you guys wanted to do it, even if you guys don't, we can have some PA systems out there, and we'll stay within the limits of not having to be a special event. But we believe it'll be a blessing, and it actually brings you into the mainstream of what is happening across America. And of course, on that day, President Obama will be issuing a proclamation saying that America.
He's coming?
Huh?
He's coming?
He said he may come. He may be there. If not, he'll be there on YouTube, and we'll have him blasted up on the media. But that's it.
Yeah.
Appreciate you guys.
Thank you, Pastor Jack. Anyone else wishes to speak on this simple issue? I see Pastor Sejour back there. Both Pastor Sejours.
Good evening. We just are really excited about this proposal, and we support. We are a part of Mission Miami as well, and I really think I think it's really clear that when the righteous prosper, the city rejoices, and I believe that all the prayers that we have prayed for the council and having it right here in the courtyard, I think is a very meaningful for our city, and I highly support it, and I know a lot of people are very excited about it already. So,
thank you, Pastor Sergio. Okay, Mr. Hans Mardi.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. My name is Hans Mardi, 1905 North East 2nd Ave, apartment 314C. I'm here to support that event of Pastor Jack because we need prayer in the city.
Oh, that's
Thank
for sure.
you.
Thank you, sir.
And you do too.
Anyone else wishes to be heard on tab I? Hearing none, we're going to close public hearing. According to 36 USC Section 119, the National Day of Prayer is an annual day of observance held on the first Thursday, which is May 2nd of 2013. It was signed by the United States Congress when people are asked to turn to God in prayer and mediation. meditation. Each year since the inception, the president has signed a proclamation encouraging all Americans to pray on this day. And it was enacted in 1952, although on the historical origin to mandate by George Washington, the first president of the United States. Although it was signed in 1952, but you know, it started when President Washington took office, which was the first president of the United States. On the National Day of Prayer, Americans from many religious backgrounds turn to God in prayer for the United States of America. It is constitutional, and basically this has been challenged and challenged and challenged and challenged, and all of the courts across the country have held that this is constitutional, and the President of the United States every single year has held that the National Day of Prayer, and usually have the proclamation. And the first attempt basically was dismissed by federal courts, federal appellate court throughout the country of the United States of America. So I know there may be an issue with the person who spoke, Pastor Jack, but this is not about Pastor Jack. This is about National Day of Prayer, and this is about the mission itself. So to me, this is a great thing for the city of North Miami, especially nowadays. I think the candidates need some real prayers, Pastor Jack. I mean, I can't believe what I'm hearing and what I'm seeing. So I see there's another pastor here, which is a friend, you know, from a Seventh-day Adventist church, you know, right down the street. We already closed public hearing, but I just would like to acknowledge you. Thank you so much for being here with us, you know. So we truly appreciate that, and I think it's a great day for the city of North Miami. And I ask you, and along with all the pastors, please pray. There's 15 candidates that are running for 3 seats in the city of North Miami, and somehow they have taken this to another level that we have not seen in the city of North Miami. So they truly need some prayers. Okay, thank you so much, sir. Councilman Blinn?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I wouldn't be where I am today without prayer. I can tell you, I once almost drowned. I was ready to go under, and I prayed. And by God works in mysterious ways, someone came along and saved me.
Yes, it does.
And that's 35 years ago. And I can tell you, I pray every morning when I get up, that I can get up every morning in good health and see and hear and understand what the world is about. So I'm a great believer in prayer.
No problem. Are you making a motion to approve that page?
Absolutely.
Okay, I'll second that motion. Councilman Marcellus?
Yes, I think
You used to be a pastor. Are you still a pastor?
He closed the church.
Yes.
What happened with the church?
I still preach the gospel, though.
Okay.
So, in other words...
Psalm 91, right? Come on now.
Oh, yeah. That's a message I used to preach for 45 minutes.
But I like Psalm 35.
Okay, so...
That's when you ask God to cut the head of the demons.
Let's focus, okay?
You know what? I think it's a very good event, and I guarantee you I will be there and to assist. And I think probably not the candidates only need the prayer, is the city as a whole need the prayer. And I might say thank you to Pastor Jack and his collaborators for thinking of that day and to put this thing in that place. And once again, thank you, and I encourage it, and I will be there with you in the prayer.
Okay.
Thank you.
Councilman Gavin?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Let me start off by being very, very clear. Pastor Jack has the right to preach whatever messages he wishes to. Pastor Jack has the right under our Constitution to assemble freely wherever he wants to. The National Day of Prayer is a worthy event that this council should support. Unfortunately, tonight's request comes from Pastor Jack, and though you are free to worship and preach whatever message you want and assemble freely wherever you want, the taxpayers should not have to pay for it. We've had this discussion just months ago. Your teachings are anti-gay. As an openly gay man, I'm offended that this item is before us this evening in the manner that it is. Pastor Jack has preached sermons with titles like Bible Says Gays and Sex Addicts Can and Should Change. Just months ago, he ridiculed members of our community who are openly gay as a gay mafia that's out to get him. But here are some of his own words spoken to South Florida Gay News in a report that they published not long ago. Quoting Pastor Jack, "I'm not God's hit list poll taker, but I'd say that homosexuality is wrapped in a quadruplet: fornication, adultery, homosexuality, incest. I do see them as equal sins." Continuing, "It's spirituality. I don't believe it produces the blessing of God," Hakimian said. From a biological and evolutionary perspective, Hakimian said that the hard facts are just slapping us in the face. I'll skip over some of the sexually graphic stuff that he said further. But in an anticipated defense of the homosexuality and nature argument, wrote the reporter, Hakimian called it an abnormality which he said God permits, but that it still negates what he called the overarching theme of the Judaism biological species procreate. In another part of the interview, Pastor Hakimian calls gays evil. Wrapping up, he says, Mr. Etienne, if I might, Mr. Etienne, I'm sorry. It's important to me. I don't think that the negative consequences of homosexuality are obvious right now. When you study history, the practice of homosexuality has a slow, degenerative consequence when it comes to morality. Sir, I didn't choose to be who I am. I was born the way I am. And for you to call me and my friends evil and degenerate, that's your constitutional right. You can do that. And I would fight to the death your right to say it. But I'll be darned if the taxpayers should have to pay for you to have a format to say it. Ladies and gentlemen, this country is swiftly evolving when it comes to GLBT rights. Which side of history do you want to show to be on right now? What message do you want to send to your constituents? Because be they black, white, Haitian American, Israeli American, Muslim, they're also, some of them, gay. And as we realize more and more that this is the mainstream of America, we can either choose to underwrite hateful statements like this, or we can choose to let those that state the hateful statements stand on their own and pay their own way. I hope tonight you'll deny this request, and if Pastor Jack and others want to have a rally, they can pay just like everybody else and stand in their constitutionally given rights. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Vice Mayor, one second, sir.
Okay.
1 second, sir. Vice Mayor. Vice Mayor.
Mr. Mayor, I would suggest that we don't have a discussion between this council up here and the audience.
We're not doing that.
fairness to
Just
you,
waiting
Mr.
for your
Jack.
comments. Yeah.
The discussion shift on me. I did not have a privilege just to support the prayer, which I thought that's what's going to be up here. The discussion between Pastor Jack against gay and anything else that he would be against, I don't want to be a part of that discussion, because I feel that if a Muslim come before us, or if it's a Jewish community come before us, or Christian, we all do not, I would say, believe in the same faith. We don't have the same faith. So we will always have disagreement on different things that we believe in. So I would suggest that for us not to categorize that day of prayer, because I am a 7 Days Adventist. I don't believe on going to church on Sunday, and I can actually take a mic and say you shouldn't go to church on Sunday because this is not the Sabbath, but that does not make me hate those who go to church on Sundays. And I'm assuming those who go to church on Sundays do not hate me as a person, but we just have different beliefs. I'm assuming, and I hope that's where all stays within different beliefs, but not individualize it and make it or personalize it. So enough preaching for tonight, guys. Let's focus and do business of the people. Let's keep politics out of it or religion out of it. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you. The motion was seconded. Anyone who wishes to work on a no?
No.
Okay, item passed. Thank you so much, Pastor Jack. We truly appreciate the work that you're doing here in the city of North Miami.
Honorable Mayor, am I able to respond just
No.
1 minute? Just because he made some strong.
No, we should.
He said,
We shouldn't.
Copies of the interview
I just
are
want to say on the
available at the front
record
of the table.
that
I hope we don't.
we've never said gays are evil. We've said that God and I, Scott Galvin, I pray for you every single week. I pray for blessing upon you. God loves all people, but he hates our sin. That's the Christian gospel. He hates my sin too.
Thank you for calling me a sinner in public.
We're
I'm glad
all
it's
sinners.
so on
I'm
the
a sinner.
record.
I'm bigger sinner than you, Councilman. I'm a bigger sinner than you. Pray for me.
Thank you. I thought we are all sinners according to. I thought we are all. I mean, okay. Some are bigger than others. Okay, all right, no problem. I guess the vice mayor is a bigger sinner than I am since I'm the mayor.
Definitely
right?
not.
And the council members are bigger sinners than I am, right?
I don't know if any of
Citizen Forum is now open.
Biggest sinner.
I'm sorry. According to Councilman Glenn, the mayor is the biggest sinner.
He has a bigger paycheck.
Citizen Forum.
Richard Ennis, 13030 Northeast 10th Avenue. I know it's probably a little too late for this election, but I think going forward, you need to give out a common sense package to anyone who applies for running for an office. You can't educate the public as to the fact that they put contradictory signs on their yards. I mean, they'll put 3 or 4 signs for the same office, which obviously means they're not in support of one or all. They don't know what they're doing. But the candidates need to have a better understanding of what they're supposed to do. I have signs on my yard supporting one person for the mayoral race and one person for my district. That's all I can vote for is 2 things. And I have 2 people on there. Only one sign was stolen so far. But I saw a vehicle, a man in a vehicle going up 10th Avenue, stopped at the corner of 10th Avenue, got out of his vehicle, and it just left it there, left the front door open, opened the back door, and it was tried to put a sign for a candidate for District 2 on my yard. It didn't come to my door, knock on my door. He just tried to. So when I opened the door and said to him, "Who told you to do that?" He said, "The candidate." I said, "Well, obviously I don't want you to put it on my yard." A couple of days ago, another vehicle went by on the other side of my street, stopped. A guy snuck out and tiptoed and put 2 signs for a mayor on my side yard. My wife said, "There, the guy's out there." I didn't get out there soon enough. He left. Those signs were picked up today by Waste Pro. They were in my garbage. I had someone come to my front door 2 days in a row giving me postcards for a mayoral candidate. Second day, I said to the guy, "You guys were here yesterday." Then I found, and obviously, my front door has an address, so it invites someone to come and knock on my door if I don't know them, and they're not automatically invited to my house. But I don't expect to find a postcard under my door in my carport, which to me, if I see someone coming into my carport, I don't know if they're there to rob me or what they're there for, but then I find a postcard stuck under that door. So the candidates need to be given some kind of guidelines as to I'll call it a common sense guideline. If you're going to, I've had other candidates come to my door, even though there are signs out there, not for them, and asking me if I would put their sign out, and I've told them obviously no, because I'm not there as an advertising agency. It's so obvious when you go by a fence or a place, and you'll see every mayoral candidate signed side by side. What are those people supporting? Are they getting paid to do this or what? I don't understand it. It's just totally ludicrous. It's so out of hand. It's just lack of common sense. So I don't know if you need to give them some kind of a psychological test when they come in to apply to be mayor or whatever. I don't know what the answer is, and maybe to educate the public too as to what they're supposed to do. But and like I said, I don't think there's enough time in this election, but maybe going forward, we need to think about that. Thank you.
Now, Mr. City Clerk, should we assign some kind of responsibility and do this to you to give the people that are running for office some kind of psychological exam before they could get qualification? Public hearing is still open.
I'll give you $2.
What an election. Ooh.
Hello, I just arrived, Esther Glenn, 1990 Northeast 118th Road.
Hey, how are you,
At
Mrs.
what
Glenn?
point have we dealt with add-ons yet?
This is Citizen Forum, Mrs. Glenn.
Huh?
This is Citizen
No,
Forum.
I asked if we had reached the add-on tabs yet.
No, this is Citizen Forum.
Okay.
This is supposed to get to the end of the meeting.
Okay, I understand.
Come on,
Okay.
Mrs. Glenn,
Yes.
14 years, if we get to Citizen Forum, that means we already dealt with the agenda.
Okay.
14 years, you should know that, right?
What do you mean, 14 years? I've lived here a lot longer than 14 years. I've been coming to council meetings before then.
Okay.
You never know what can happen in...
I'm sorry, Mr. Glenn, quasi-council member for 14 years.
Yes, but I've lived in the city, and so has he, for more than that. But let's go on now.
Yeah?
Okay.
That means she's half council member?
She was only elected by me.
I got one vote. Okay. With regard to campaigning tactics, I think the signs are signs, but destruction of signs, intimidating people about signs, offering to remove signs of other candidates is not appropriate. It's just not right. If you have to resort to sign influence, it's a very sad commentary. I think also that a certain degree of decorum is always advisable for candidates when they're running for office. I think that's a good idea. But all sorts of sign wars are going on that are costly to each of the candidates and totally unnecessary. Furthermore, we're supposed to be running for office, and you should have the highest standards possible. So I just encourage everybody to stop the nonsense. And for those who thought otherwise, including a few people that thought that Councilman Blinn was not running, that's a tactic that won't do very well, because when they look at the ballot, they'll see his name if they haven't seen him himself. So I just caution people to use a little common sense.
Citizen Forum is still on. Anybody else?
William Prevotel, 11950 North Bayshore Drive. Earlier tonight, we had a presentation by a planning consultant that was hired by the city, Dawn Sunborn, if I'm pronouncing it properly. And she gave a rather well-studied view of some of our critical corridors and neighborhoods in a way, and how they need to be addressed, and how difficult it is at times to try to bring these components along. A great many weeks and months have gone into getting to this stage for implementation. And I don't believe it was addressed. Maybe I missed it, but it sort of relates to our Biscayne Landing project. You can see on a small scale of existing buildings the detail, the care it takes to get something in the right direction. And the trouble is that the planning consultants that our city hired is really not participating in the guidance of Biscayne Landing. And I think if we were to question it, we'd find out, as I did question it afterwards, that Biscayne Landing is not quite in compliance with the guidelines that we're aiming for in the rest of the city, and it should not fall short of that. We're really hoping, in case there's any misunderstanding, I think all of us are okay with the idea, not okay with it, but have accepted the idea that Biscayne Landing in some form or another will go forward. The point is that it really needs to have the time to be resolved to be the best possible project possible. I hope that all of you have read my mailing that was sent out a day or two ago that addressed these concerns and how that our city should not be in any way intimidated by any party, should not be pressured by any party, and should really work to the best interests of this our community, and that is to make this project the best possible project we could do under the given circumstances. Just finally, we did have a planning board meeting of which it was tumultuous, to say in short. And with two of the members, including myself, walking out because we really thought the issue was so critical, so important, there were so many loose ends that we really did need to have continuance. And it seemed that we weren't given that option. So therefore our option was to walk out on this. But if I may say, considering that there were 2 votes down and 2 votes walking out, there were more than down, and 2 votes that were up. The 2 votes that were up were kind of in question. One, the reasoning was, well, we got to start somewhere. And I wish I had said at the time, and I'll say now, the very respected, I respect him very much, my fellow commissioner, said this, and he's in the boating industry. And I really wish at the time I had asked him, Mr. Commissioner, or Charles, say, you're in this boat industry, and you understand the nature of these vessels, and would you send a vessel out that may not have the proper communications, or maybe there was a problem or complication in its power system, or maybe the sails are somehow ripped, maybe it doesn't have quite the right number of life jackets or lifeboats or other things. Would you send that vessel out if it was not seaworthy? Now, anybody looking at the boat would say, oh, that's a boat. If they don't really know it intimately, that's a boat. I'm going to go out in that boat and I'm going to sail it off. And majority of people would do this. 99% would say, there's a boat, let's get on it. But those who really know, and I know my fellow commissioner knows, if that does not meet certain criteria, you do not take that out into the water, because you're really limiting your overall feasibility of that, and that you could be in danger somehow. In some cases, people actually lose their vessel. It may go down. They may actually have loss of life. In our case, it's the same thing with Biscayne Landing. I'm not saying necessarily that lives will be lost, but it is very critical that things are right. They'll never be perfect, and it may not be the best plan in the world, but it is an opportunity to get things as orderly as possible, to make them work as well as possible going forward, to have a lot of things in place, circulation patterns and different views and such, that get nailed down at this point at the conceptual plan, that all these things need to be addressed to safely go forward, and there'll be a lot less concern down the line because there'll be a lot less problems to address and much more to just work on embellishments to the benefit of everyone, our city, our politicians, and also, believe it or not, the developer. It'll actually develop, and particularly to the residents. So I thank you very much for your consideration on giving this project as much time as it needs to work out the kinks, to be able to go forward in the best interest of all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Citizen forum is still open. Citizens forum is out.
Thank you, Council. Vice Mayor, thank you. Kenneth Each, member of the Planning Commission, and First and foremost, let me thank this council and mayor for naming Emerald Drive in my honor, and I'm so humbled by that. Thank you, especially on September the 11th when that resolution passed. Secondly, I just want to say, as a member of the Planning Commission, we want the best for the city. We want the absolute best, and we're not trying to give the developer a hard time, but we want to make sure that our T's are crossed, our I's are dotted, and that we have a great project out there. This is the future of this city, and no one's giving Mr. Swerdlow a hard time at all. Let me talk about democracy for a second. We're in the era of, right now, our elections. It's most sacred. It's the most sacred thing we have in a democracy is to go to that ballot and vote. And when we start playing dirty pool, that's wrong. This happened in the last election, allegations against the mayor, his wife. That was totally outrageous. Against Carol Keys, totally outrageous. We throw the issues out in front of the public, and hey, these are our citizens, let them vote. But when we start playing dirty pool and we start robbing signs and all these shenanigans, we desecrate democracy. I just want you to think of a second, not the council here, but the people that are doing this. You know, we have American fighting men and women all over the world today in Iraq, they were in Iraq, but in Afghanistan right now, protecting something that is so precious, our liberty and our democracy. I fought for this country. I fought for that right, democracy, the right to vote. I didn't fight for shenanigans. I didn't fight for dirty pool. I fought, hey, we put the issues on the table, we weigh it out, we go into the ballot box, and we vote. None of this nonsense. This has to stop. Let me say something about Mr. Galvin. I've known you since you've been a young man. I know when you first ran for council when you were living on the west side. I was always impressed with you. You're an honest man. You're a good man. You're my friend. I thank God that you're my councilman. And I'm proud to call you my friend. I wish you were my congressman.
Thank you, Chief.
And you have done an excellent job up here. And you have my admiration, my support, and my friendship, as well as the rest of you up here do.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you all. You know, democracy is fragile. All it does is take one generation and we can lose this thing called democracy. And all of you are up there, and whether I agree with you or whether I disagree with you, I respect you. I respect you for running. I respect you for holding this office. And I respect you for doing what you, in your heart, you think is right. Mr. Galvin, thank you for being my friend. Thank you for being my councilman. And thank you for representing your citizens. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Chief.
Public hearing is still open. Our citizen forum is still open.
Annie Montgomery, 2082 Laurel Lane. I'm not going to talk about signs. Not going to talk about religion. I'm going to talk about the CRA. One of my clients gave me a call last week and told me that she was approached by somebody that's well connected at the city, that her property was listed with them. The CRA would purchase it. Did you hear me? Put your fingers in your ears, Mr. Moore. So her answer was, I am very content with Annie Montgomery Realty. She's my friend. I've known her for many years, and she's the one that takes care of my property. That same client of mine was in Tallahassee. What was it? Dade week or Dade month or something like that everybody was at. And she ran into an individual, and that individual told her that when, after the election, that individual would see that the CRA purchased her building. It's quite upsetting that that's the way our CRA is being run. I wish our city manager was here or the head of the CRA to hear me. But it's very upsetting that these people can go around saying these things and doing these things and they are connected with the city, very well connected. So I just want to have that, let it be known to our council. I'd also like to make a request from this board. There is a huge sign that's been erected on Keystone Boulevard. I want you all to drive past it. Not one of you would want it in front of your home. It's letting the Keystone Point residents know that their sidewalks are going to be repaired. This is something we pay for. But we have to have this huge sign advertising all the council's names and that the sidewalks are going to get repaired. So please do me a favor and see if you would want it in front of your house. And if you feel you would not want it in front of your house, please see that our staff gets it removed. Thank you.
Citizen Forum is still open. Citizen Forum is now closed. Councilman Blinn.
I spent several days in Tallahassee last week with the Florida League of Cities, and I was very interested in helping the city financially. And there is a $17 million loan to help build a new water plant that we don't need, but it's going to be revising the old water plant. Hopefully, if we can collect that money, plus $1 million for lines and $2 million for stormwater, which are not loans but are outright grants from us, from the county or from the city of North Miami, from Tallahassee. That's almost $20 million. That will help us, if we obtain that, to reduce our water bill. So I am working on that, and that's why I went to Tallahassee. Now, the other thing which really bothers me and I want to speak about is I love the city. I've been here 35 years, and I find signs ugly. I find them in the wrong places, sometimes too many.
You want to pass a law that we have no signs?
No.
Okay.
I'll tell you what I want.
Okay.
And right down to my soul, I feel like the city's purity is being lost. It is an ugly city with these signs. I would like to have the city attorney and I discuss this for a new ordinance, that you can only have one sign per candidate per house. Certain people are going out and putting on 2, 3, 4, 5 signs. And on any property in the city of North Miami, only one sign. And that can only be a yard sign. I want to eliminate those large signs. They are just totally ugly, and it really interferes with the beauty of our city. And that's what I'm going to propose in a new sign ordinance. Thank you.
No problem. So he's going to work with the city attorney to make that proposition, and that would come to the city council for a vote. Okay, no problem. Councilman Marcellus?
I think, Mr. Councilman Blinn, I think I probably co-sponsor that ordinance with you also.
There you go. You got 2 of them.
And I think it's become
That's if we're re-elected.
it's become ridiculous. And the way it seems like it's a competition among some candidates who's going to have more signs. And I think we have to regulate these situations. Otherwise, I think every election it will be worse, and after worse and worse. So we have to do something. And Councilman Blinn, I'm with you in this thing.
Okay.
And I think that's the only thing I have to say.
Okay, so the 2 councilmen will get together with the city attorney to draft a resolution regarding signs. Councilman Gavin?
Thank you. I'll try to withhold any snarky comments about how some of my fellow council members are more concerned with signs and those issues than human rights issues. But be that as it may, speaking of illegal signs, there are some on city right-of-way, Madam City Attorney. I reported it to you several days ago and to the manager over 3 weeks ago. I'll state it again publicly. We know that we have sign rules currently that say candidate signs cannot be on public rights-of-way. The fence surrounding the old North Miami High School that's now a vacant lot is full of signs. That is public right-of-way. That is our park property. And on 135th and West Dixie Highway, north of West Dixie, north of 135th Street, there are 2 large campaign signs. There's not any one candidate that's violating the law. Many of them probably don't realize they're violating the law. They're just slapping up signs everywhere. I, again, demand that they be removed immediately, although I've been making this request for over 3 weeks now. I'm taking it public, and that we follow our own rules as they already exist per political signs.
Okay, Vice Mayor?
Secondarily, sorry,
Go
no.
ahead.
Madam City Manager, it's been over 6 months since the city issued utility bills, commercial or residential. The last series of bills we issued were September of 2012. What's the problem? What's the holdup? And when are we going to bill everybody? And are they going to all receive one giant bill at the same time?
You want the Finance Director to address that issue?
Yes.
Okay.
I assume the city manager was able to do so.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. I mean, let's get the person who's responsible to issuing those bills to address that issue.
Should I assume the city manager is unable to answer that
No,
question?
that's not it. Yeah, I mean, that's his staff.
Then you would certainly allow the manager to answer the question.
Mr. Manager, do you want the city finance director to address that issue?
Yes, I'm calling the finance director, Mr. Paul,
Okay,
to
no problem.
address that issue.
Mr. Paul, thank you for coming to the microphone. Thank you for this opportunity to directly question you about why the people are not receiving their utility bills. Can you please explain how you ever let the new system go online without a test run first? How you ever let the new system go online without having it run simultaneous with the current new system? It seems, I'll try to pick my language carefully here, but it is absolutely unacceptable that for over 6 months we've not billed anybody for their utilities. Please explain how that happened.
I do understand the protocol to make sure that we run parallel, but however you have to understand we had a system that was not capable to continue, and we didn't have a choice. As I explained before, had we continued with that system, we would have a problem if the system crashed and not have any historical data. But at the same time, when we converted from the old system to the new system, when we upload the data from the old system to the new system, they were not matching exactly because the old system used account number as the matrix to control, and the new system used meters numbers. So we have to make sure that the meter numbers are correct. However, in the old system, the meter numbers were not being tracked. If, for example, that public work will go and remove 1 meter from a location, and then at later time put it at a different place, in the old system, it was not an issue because account number was the control. But in the new system, since the matrix of controlling, making sure that every account are billed correctly is meter, so we make sure that if once we upload the data, because of that movement between meters in the data, we have to individually revise every account. That's where the problem is. When we did the conversion, we could not convert everything to the same format.
So what's the holdup? Do we not have enough manpower? Do we not have enough understanding of how the program works?
Originally, what happened is, as we running the system, we are finding those errors, and we are fixing them because we edit. We create what is called an edit list for the different account. But we are almost up to par right now, and then we want to be billing them. But I know the concern is going to be now that getting all their bill at once. But we are going to inform them and willing to work things out with them and not force them to pay the amount all at once.
When will people start to see a bill?
As soon as possible. We are.
I'll say it's over 6 months later. When I first asked this question 3 or 4 months ago, I was willing to go with as soon as possible. But now, we need something more.
Council member, this is what happened. We were under the impression once we did all the conversion that we were not going to be facing the issue of having to make sure that the data were not comparable. And that's where the problem is. The issue is not only coming from us, it's also coming from our meter reader that has to go and read those meters, and then when we upload the reading and it's not uploading correctly. So we finally figured out what the problem is, and now is the meters are matching exactly with what the list that is uploaded from the reader meter.
It's incomprehensible to me and unacceptable to me that this problem has drawn out this long. The mayor will be sipping Cuba Libres somewhere when people get $600 and $700 utility bills. Woe be unto us who are sitting in this room when this auditorium is filled with angry residents who are just livid that they're getting this bill all at the same time. You're smiling and laughing.
No, I'm not laughing at you. But
no, I know you're not laughing at me, but you're smiling at the situation. It's just not acceptable.
But I understand, sir, but this is the concern. We had two choices. When I came in, it's not that I selected to turn around and converted the system to a new system. We simply didn't have a choice. I could have turned around and pretended that it was not there and left the system the way it is and allow us to turn around and, God forbid, the system crashed, and then now it would have been a nightmare. They would not only not get a bill for 6 months.
Can you hold on for a minute?
Yes.
Can I piggyback on something? Because when you were referring to the new system, the old system,
yeah,
are you saying that we actually bought a new system while you come in office, or we had a new system that was there before your time?
This is a new system that was purchased for $1 million, and it has never been used.
Yes.
Most of the software that we pay every single month is never been used. And what they have been doing in the city of North Miami before he got on board, they used to guesstimate what the water bill would be and send those bills out. So this guy came in and he wants to be efficient about sending the water bill, making sure that the system is working well. Even the IT director from Miami Garden, Mr. Ricardo Castillo, came in and he said, "Why are we paying all this money for all these softwares and it's not being used?" He came in and started putting all this software into use. And I understand, exactly what's happening here. I mean, we could have just guesstimate and send the bills out, but you decided that you were going to do it the right way and to make sure that we send a correct bill to the residents of the city of North Miami. So we could continue to ask all the questions and get this back and forth, but I encourage you to continue to stand your ground to make sure that we are sending a correct bill to the resident of the great city of North Miami. We paid for the system $1 million, I think, back in 2008. Ever since I got elected, every single week there was a group of city employees down in the basement trying to learn the system. We never got converted, right, Mr. Councilman Blinn?
Absolutely.
Okay, we just sat there, nothing was done. And finally, Mr. Ricardo Castillo came on board and said, "What's going on here? What kind of city are we running?" So finally, now we're getting it together. We finally, putting all the softwares into use and that kind of stuff. And there's been a minor delay, and now it's a big issue.
I would say it's not a minor delay when you're going on 7 months with no billing and no income. Although I'm glad you're standing your ground, as the mayor has said, get the bills out.
Yes, sir. The bill will be out, and I guarantee you that the next issue will be that they'll be coming back and say now they're getting the bill late.
No, they're going to be angry when they get their bill. So are you telling us you're going to have those bills out by the next council meeting in 2 weeks?
No, but we are pushing them so they can start getting the bill.
By the next month?
Understand, sir. The manpower, we don't have the manpower. Plus, I have 3 staff working only doing billing.
So I would say tell us that so that we can allocate you some more manpower. I would create some jobs, hire some people to part-time with this
It's not only an issue of manpower, sir. It's also an issue of making sure that the person doing the bill is well trained.
My last question then on this matter.
Yes, sir.
When do you estimate people will get a utility bill?
By the end of next month, we're going to be pushing the bill and they're going to be getting all the bill. One after the other, I guarantee you.
You're saying they're going to get one bill in late May?
No, sir. We are currently all the bills are going out, but we're going to be pushing the bill one after the other as soon as we make sure that everything is running perfectly within the system.
So we're 2 quarters behind. When will they get their bill for the last quarter of 2012?
Before the end of the next council, they'll get the one for December out, because now we are doing the one for the end of November.
So they'll get that at the end of April.
Yes, sir.
When will they get the bill for the first quarter of 2013?
So we are working on a week-by-week basis to make sure that as the utility meter reader are read, we upload them in the system, and then we push them out as soon as we upload it into the system.
Will they get that bill in May?
Yes, sir. I can only tell you we're going to put our best foot forward to make sure that we caught up with the bill.
So they'll get 1 quarter bill in April, 1 quarter bill in May, and this room is going to be filled with people in May. As the new council is being sworn in, there's going to be a room full of angry people that they just got back-to-back big utility bills. We've all heard people complain about the water bill being too high. Wait till they get a load of this one.
But I do understand, sir. We're willing to work out some type of payment arrangement with them for those that cannot pay all at once, providing that they're in good standing with the previous account.
Thank you very much, Mr. Paul.
Thank you, sir.
My last thing tonight will be a positive thing, a personal thing. Nobody else cares but me. But I want to congratulate my cousin, Logan Bauman, who is a player for the University of Louisville men's basketball team that won the national championship yesterday. He's a walk-on freshman. And as just fate would have it, he had the opportunity to bring home a national championship. So for all my family back in Kentucky and my cousins in Louisville and elsewhere, congratulations.
Wow, congratulations. Was he playing, or was he on the bench, or was he?
In fairness, he only made the court a few times when they were really far ahead early in the season. He didn't get to play in the playoffs, but I did get to watch him on ESPN climbing up the ladder and cutting down his section of the
Very
net.
nice.
So.
No, I played soccer when I was in college, and I was always on the bench, watching the other guys play. So
I was on the track.
Yeah, and Blaine was on the track team, but he was watching the other guys running ahead of him.
No, that's not true. I came in second.
Vice Mayor?
Mr. Mayor, thank you so much. Again, I know that you're on your 46th day. Is that what it is?
42 more days.
42 more days.
That. Yes.
I hope that.
Thank you, Jesus.
Well, I think.
Or whatever other God you worship.
Yeah, that's right.
You guys done?
Yeah.
Okay. It's over. I'm done. I save it for the next council meeting. I think it's going to be juicier.
Okay, no problem. Basically, again, thank you to all. It's been, a great 4 years.
It's been interesting 4 years.
Very interesting 4 years. I mean, I was reading an email that somebody sent over to me that said, there's like 3 different kind of people that come into your life, and they said the one that give you the hardest time, that's the one you really learn your lesson, and you get a chance to be a better person. There's another one that come to your life basically to get a chance to know who you are, and I think the third one, I don't remember the email, but truly it's been a great 4 years. I can't wait to leave this chair and go back to the law office and practice law the way I know how to practice law. Basically, I was in trial a couple weeks ago. I was in a 7-day trial, although my client was found guilty. But it's good.
An electric chair.
It's good. I mean, it was a federal trial. I mean, you know how this federal trial. You got the federal agents. They already investigated the case. My client was set up with videos and that kind of stuff. Then from there, you got the U.S. Attorney's Office. So basically, the stocks was against me, but my client went down and he was found guilty. But it's good to be back in court, in federal court, and trying cases and kicking people's butt the way I know how to do best. I'm in immigration court, I'm in federal court, I'm in state court, so I can't wait to get back to do what I know how to do best, which is being a lawyer and do good work for my client. So it's been a pleasure. I got one more council meeting, which is the April 26th. Cannot wait to move on. Good luck to all the candidates. I think it's 15 of you running for 3 seats. All I gotta say, I don't remember running a negative campaign at all in both elections. So all I gotta tell you that run on your records. Make sure that you run a campaign that is clean, that is neat. Talk about you. Don't talk about the other candidate. And if you do so and you stay positive and stay on track, there's I don't see any reason why you shouldn't win. So good luck to all the candidates. It's very honorable for so many of you to put your name out there to run for office. It's not easy. I mean, it's a difficult thing to do. But I truly appreciate all of you for doing so. I don't think there's too many candidates in the race. I don't think there's too many people running for office. I think it's a great thing. It's a great democracy that so many of you are running and so many of you wants to serve your community. I truly believe that the best way to make an impact in your community is being elected, because if you really want to make some changes, you got to be part of the process. Although I truly believe that you should serve on certain boards, you should get involved with what's happening in your community, which is very important. But, you know, being elected, especially at the local level, I think all politics are local. Getting elected at the local level, you could really make a change in your community and making sure that your community continue to flourish. So thank you so much. Thank you for having me. Mr. City Clerk, I think we have a couple reports from you.
We have a couple of important reports. The first one, today was the last day of qualifying for the candidates. We had a very smooth qualifying process for those who were candidates before, like the Carol Keys, the Kevin Burns, Michael Blends. They were extremely satisfied with, and the Jean Marcelluses, with our qualifying process this time. And I must say that Jackie and I make a remarkable team. We changed a lot of things, and we had a very, very smooth qualifying period. So we have, as the mayor said, 15 qualified candidates. We will have those names up on our website probably before the end of next week, so that we can give IT time to upload the information. Now, I do have the finalized ballot questions for the members of the council. Although I am the supervisor of election, it's my job to approve the final ballot. But this is all a team effort among all the elected officials. I gave the council members a copy of all the ballots, and there's two particular charter amendments that was brought to my attention that I want to bring to your attention. And I think we spoke individually, privately. We're going to discuss the first one, which is the council candidacy requirement. It says. And so I can just give you a brief synopsis of what came up, and you guys let me know how you want me to approach this particular issue. This particular charter amendment only applies as written to the council members. It doesn't apply to the city clerk and or the mayor. Now, I don't know if we want to have a sweep and change like that and exclude two offices, the city clerk office and the mayor office, and just let it be applicable to only the council members. I would think that it should be applicable across the board, and it should be done correctly. But as written right now, this particular council candidacy requirement, it was put on the ballot with Resolution R 2013-14. What it does, it only applies to the city council member candidates. It does not apply to the mayoral candidates and or the city clerk. I want to bring that to your attention. And the second charter amendment question, again, before I approve the ballot, I want to get the council's input on this, is the charter updates. And I'm going to read this out because it's only the last provision that was brought to my attention that we should probably make some adjustments to, or whatever the council or mayor wants to do. And it reads, it is proposed that the charter be amended to 1, delete outdated and unnecessary provisions, 2, reorganize similar provisions and consolidate redundant languages, and 3, and this is the problem, remove certain provisions from the charter to be placed in the appropriate section of the city code. The problem with the third one is it doesn't specify the certain provisions to be moved from the charter. Are we going to, this is extremely too vague, are we going to just remove whatever provisions the council want to remove, whatever provision that, it's just way too vague. And even before to move anything off the charter, you need to specify whatever it is you're removing off the charter before you can put it into the section of the city code. So those were the two minor, well, I think this one is probably a little bit more major, but the first one, those were the two charter amendment questions that was brought to my attention that we may want to readdress, or if you want to leave it as is, you can. But before I approved the final ballot, I wanted to bring that to your attention. And before you guys discuss that, one more major announcement.
Before you move on, can we address that issue, Michael?
Of course, no problem.
We could move on. The first issue, does the charter refers to the city council as a whole? Does that include the mayor and the city clerk, the city attorney?
Yes, it does.
So the city council does include the mayor and the city clerk, and I think there's provision.
That's incorrect,
in the charter.
Mayor.
Right.
Huh?
The every provisions of the charter and or the code of ordinances have specified the city council as the city council. It identifies the mayor as the mayor, and it identifies the city clerk as the city clerk. Obviously, the city clerk isn't part of the council.
Okay.
I don't vote with the council, and so just so that we can clear up any potential ambiguity, either we clear, like, because there's, for example, when my position is in question or your position is in question, it specifies mayor or it specifies city clerk. It doesn't clump us all together. It's the city council.
All right, if you know, I mean, listen.
It's up to you guys. Whatever you want to do.
You know, I got, you know, some of our clients that I represent. You know, like today, I went to court today, and this guy said, you know what? I'm not taking a plea. You know, I want you to take this case to trial. But as a lawyer, I give my client the advice, and the client follow, you know, whatever he wants to follow. So the city attorney said the city council does include the city clerk and the mayor. So if this city council want to change that, it's up to the city council. Does the city council want to change the city council to include mayor and city clerk, or they want to follow the advice of the city attorney?
Can I read to you the relevant section?
I know about. Go ahead. You could read the relevant section. Go ahead.
Section 5, the sub 3.
Uh-huh.
Whenever the term council or council person is used in this charter, it shall be deemed to mean and include the mayor unless otherwise specifically provided.
Now, what about the clerk?
Okay. The clerk has always been an issue because sometimes, you know, the clerks are excluded. So, should we say the charter required candidate for city council and or the clerk? Is that you want the clerk to be included? I think the mayor is already included in city council. Does anyone would like to include and or the clerk?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the clerk, not
and
and
the clerk.
or, but
Yeah.
and the clerk.
And the clerk. So we're just going to include the clerk because the clerk has always been, you know, the stepchild until Michael get, elected, and now the clerk is part of, you know, the family. Right, right, Mr. Chen?
That's correct.
Okay, so it should be the city council and the clerk. Okay? So,
excuse me if I may.
You need to come up to a microphone
yeah.
and introduce yourself.
Joe Celestine, 13500 Northeast 3rd Court. The City Council is the governing body of the city that is comprised of 5 members, 4 district and the mayor. If you make the clerk a member of the council, the clerk will now have to have a vote on the council because he's a council member.
I don't want to vote.
I am concerned, and as part of many cities, at the county commission, we have a clerk. At Miami-Dade, at North Miami Beach, we have a clerk. He is not a member of the council. In fact, a number of cities now are making the city clerk a non-elected official. Now, to turn around and said that you want the clerk to be a member of the council,
That's not what we're doing. That's a separate issue. To begin with, we have not voted to make the city clerk an appointed position. All we're doing is, yes, the requirements for candidacy. It has nothing to do with voting. All we're doing is that the city clerk, before qualifying, he has to have the same kind of requirement as the city council.
Oh, then I misunderstood that. Okay, but I thought that you mentioned that make the clerk a member of the council.
So, Mr. City Clerk, so we're going to include that candidate for city council and the city and the clerk's office and city clerk. Okay.
And
all right. So that first issue has been resolved, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now the second issue that you have is the issue relating to charter update. We move certain provisions from the charter to be placed in the appropriate section of the city code. What's wrong with that? I mean, if the city council has decided to, through ordinance, by removing provision that should be into the city code, what's wrong with that?
You can't do that by ordinance. If you're going to remove a provision in the charter, it needs to be done by a referendum.
Okay. Miss City Attorney, can you help us with that? Because I think this is one of the provisions that we voted on that was recommended by the Charter Review Board. Can you help us with this provision here?
Sure. If you recall, The reason that it is a question on the charter is so that the voters be allowed to vote on that particular issue.
Right.
It is a question on the charter.
That's a question of the charter.
Correct.
So just giving the voters the option to allow the city council to do so, I mean, that's not much of a problem. So anyone else, any problem with this provision?
No.
Okay.
Defer to the city clerk. Are you comfortable now with the language?
Nothing has been changed from the language. The city clerk basically is telling this body that we should not allow this body to remove provision from the charter.
No, that's incorrect. No. What I'm telling you is it was brought to my attention before the ballot being finalized that they wanted me to bring to your attention. So, for example, when you say remove certain provisions from the charter to be placed in the appropriate section of the city code, right now, the charter is our constitution. Right? If anything is to be removed from the charter, it needs to be done by a referendum.
I know that.
What they wanted to let you, they brought to my attention, and again, before I approved the ballot, I wanted to bring to your attention that, so when you put on there, remove certain provisions from the charter to be placed in the appropriate section of the city code, what are those certain provisions?
Well, it's the voters that giving us the authority to do so through ordinance.
That's what I'm saying.
It doesn't have
I'm
to
not
be
arguing with you,
what
man.
they're
I'm just
voting
telling
on.
you what was brought to my attention.
Right.
So they're saying, what are those certain provisions? You're not specifying which provisions it is that you're allowing. So
we asking the voters to give this council members the authority to, through city ordinance, to remove certain provisions and put them on city code.
I hear where he's coming from, and I know the only way to comply with this sort of tweaking that you want would be more than the 75 words we're allowed to have on the ballot. My guess is
correct. So the entire charter with the particular deletions,
right? Because there was
are
tons
available. Correct.
So
the voter would see what that is.
Exactly.
Maybe our advertising material could link to a website where all of these changes are shown or something like, because I get where he's coming from. It just says certain provisions.
Again, it's not me. It's what they wanted me to bring to you.
So that information is available.
Yeah.
Right.
That the actual charter with the deletions and strike-throughs and stuff. That's part of the.
Is that on our website anywhere, or could we make?
Yes.
That is on our website.
Yes.
It is on the website.
Yes.
Okay.
So okay.
No, thank you.
So, Mr. City Clerk, that has been resolved. What's the third issue that you have going on?
It was not a third issue. Oh, the last one is this. Apparently, found out tonight, thanks to our remarkable deputy city clerk, I got on the phone with the director of the Department of Supervision, Ms. Townsley, I think her name is. The county apparently voted today to put a particular ballot measure on the city. I'm sorry, on our particular
Miami Dolphins on May 14th.
Yeah, so it's the Miami Dolphins bond issue. So therefore, their election would take precedent over ours. Early voting is no longer going to be 14 days as our ordinance require. We would have to defer to whatever it is the county's going to do. So our early voting is changing from April 29th
to May 4th.
To May 4th.
May 4th or May 2nd?
May 4th.
May 4th, which is that Sunday.
It's apparently on a Saturday.
On a Saturday, okay. So May 4th still.
So we're going to make the announcements.
Through Mother's Day?
Through Mother's Day, right?
All I have, what she told me was May 4th.
Okay.
Okay. Early voting no longer begins April 29th. Early voting begins May 4th.
And it concludes May 12th, or do you not know that yet?
I do not know that.
Yeah, it's probably May 12th on Mother's Day.
I don't want to.
Okay.
It's my mom's.
Thank you.
Thank you.
By the way, are you guys going to vote to make the city clerk change or leave as is?
What, the city clerk change to what?
The language. You wanted to add and city clerk after city
and
council.
city clerk, yes.
Yeah, but you guys just going to do it? You can't
Yes.
do it without a vote?
It was the vote. This motion was made. It was seconded, and
No, it wasn't.
anyone. Okay.
I'll make the motion that we include
Include city
the
clerk.
language
And I second it.
and city
Motion,
clerk.
Calvin.
Anyone wishes the record to know? Hearing none. Adam Fast. Anything else from you, Mr. City Clerk?
Nothing else, man.
Hearing none. The elections for Coral Gables just came in. Jim Carson was re-elected with 70% of the votes from Coral Gables. Commissioner for Group 2, Vince Largo, was elected. And Commissioner from Group 3, Patricia Keon, was re-elected. These are all the three candidates that my guy was working with, and all three of them got re-elected in Coral Gables. I'll tell you in a few. In Miami Shores County election, there were 3 seats available, and 6 people were vying for those 3 seats. And the top 3 vote getters usually get elected, and the number 1 vote getter with 1,033 votes, 22% of the vote, Hertha Holly. And number 2 of the vote got 20% of the votes. Jesse Walters got 936 votes. And the last one was 803 votes with Yvonne Ledesma. Our good friend Jonas Pastor George received 566 votes, and he was number 5, so he didn't make it the top 3.
Yeah.
And this is unofficially, but you know, that's pretty much all the ballots has been counted for that election. And the voter turnout in Miami Shores election was 25.47%.
Very nice.
And the voter turnout in Coral Gables was 23.15%. You know, I hope North Miami can get up there from our ordinary 15% that we usually get.
And
okay.
And Hertha Holly is 74 years old.
Motion to adjourn?
She's 70. No, we want Miss City Attorney. Any reports from you?
No, sir.
No report. Miss Deputy City Manager, thank you very much for a wonderful
Motion
evening.
to adjourn.
I love having you up here. Any reports from you?
I just want to say the city manager is sick, couldn't be here tonight, and he has been sick since yesterday. We expect him to come soon. When it comes to the utility billing question that was addressed to Mr. Paul, the manager has given additional staff to the utility billing to address the question, and we provide, and he has been giving them all the support and staff the need to address the question. All the difficulty come to the transition between a very inadequate system to the system that is being implemented.
Could you please send him a get well card from us?
All right. I called them today and I told him that there's some good Haitian medicine that he could have. Basically, some Haitian rum, the 5-star, along with some, honey, the Haitian honey, along with some lime. Okay.
Haitian lime.
Haitian lime. Okay. Then, if he takes that, but he decided that he wants to get the Z-Pack, and I told him the Z-Pack gonna take him 5 days to get better. So
What is a Z-Pack?
it's a pill that you take the first day. You take 2, then you take 1 each additional day. Okay, Mr. City Clerk has one more issue.
No, real quick. I wanted to acknowledge the clerk's office. On an average, we have, and Jackie's back there, Lewis is back there, and they're respectively our number 1 and number 2 in that office. On an average, we have, listen to this, 65 to 75 residents or residents around the Miami-Dade area, primarily from the city of North Miami, who utilizes the city clerk office.
Every day.
On an average day. And on a yearly basis, we're looking at roughly 19 to 20,000 individuals who come through that office to take advantage of some of the services we provide. And of course, that's generating revenue for our city. And the part-time staff we have in there, including the full-time staff, Jackie Lewis and Olga, they're doing a fabulous job, and I wanted to acknowledge them. They're doing a great service for our city. They're probably working the hardest. So I wanted to make sure that people knows that they're serving about 70 people on a daily basis. And I wanted to acknowledge them. Thank you, man.
We want to get them down to the utility billing office.
And hold on, Mr. City Clerk. Are you processing green cards down there too?
No.
Thank you. Can I get a motion to adjourn? Anyone wishes to record or no? Hearing none. Thank you.